All right, everybody, welcome to State of the State. I'm Josh Kaufman here with Jerry in the Hood Steinberg from the mean streets of Edison, New Jersey, now located in sunny Alabama. So this is our first show that we're doing. We're going to try to do this as often as we can, but probably like once a week. And we're structuring it in 4 quarters. Anything you'd like to say, Jay?
Just that you could think of me as a fat white Stephen A. Smith, and we can think of you as a more annoying Skip Bayless.
Well, that's pretty good. I don't know if I can be more annoying than Skip Bayless, but I'll give it a shot. What are we going to talk about first? We're going to talk about something that's on the mind of every UM basketball fan, and that is
Shane Larkin. Should he stay or should he go?
I'm in the school that I have a mixed feeling on this. I think on one hand, if he has a chance to be a first-round pick on a decent team, that's something that's kind of hard to pass up. What do you think about that?
I agree with you. I think if you're a surefire lottery pick, you should definitely go. I think Shane's being projected somewhere late in the first, early in the second, depending on whose mock draft you look at. I'm on the school that where he's projected to go, and despite the fact that he had a tremendous season, there's still room to improve. I think he should come back.
Well, I know we all want him to come back because, it means a lot to the team. Great scorer, great leader. It would be great to have him deal with the freshmen and the new players that are coming in, the transfers. Again, the double team, how are they going to get him out of that situation this year?
But see, you make my argument for me there. That's something that they saw at the end of the year where teams, I kind of started in the Clemson game where teams would blitz him on the high pick and roll. He did a slightly better job in some of their later games, but it seemed to bother him some. He's got to learn how to split the double. He's got to learn how to get rid of the ball quicker. He's got to do some things to adjust to that because there's no doubt that if he goes to the NBA, he's going to see that there as well. So that kind of goes with my point that I think he needs to come back. As great as he is, I still think he can get better.
Well, my point on that is I don't think that is something he'll see that much at the NBA, if at all. I mean, everybody in the NBA makes shots, so you can't just have 2 players run and chase the guy at the top of the key with the ball. I mean, you're going to look at wide open 3 after wide open 3 by guys who can shoot it, and I just don't see that happening. So my point of view, he looks at that and says, wait, I'm going to get defended much harder in college than I will in much less minutes. So we have to throw that in. He's not going to be playing 40 minutes a game, 30 minutes a game as a rookie in the NBA. He's lucky if he gets a few minutes, just starting off, I would think.
Well, what do they do less of in the NBA than anywhere else?
Play defense.
Kind of making your point for you. But I think we all remember a couple of years back when the Dallas Mavericks upset the Heat in the finals, and maybe not so much against the Heat, but on their way to the finals, what did the Mavericks do really well?
They played defense.
Well, beyond playing defense, they did something that Miami fans have only seen UM scratch the surface of, and that is they blitzed guys with the ball. They did the scramble defense. They did things that good teams are going to do. You will get doubled coming off high pick and pops in the NBA, and I still think Shane, his size is going to work a little bit against him. He certainly has the athleticism, the quickness, the ball handling, the shooting ability, but just how he adjusts to how teams defend him is something that he can improve on. And I think if he comes back, Coach L and staff are going to make him an even better player than he already is. I think he needs to come back.
That's a good point. Also, you can always say he can get stronger, right? To be even tougher at the next level, finish through contact.
Absolutely. So I guess we're a little bit torn on this. Let's hope that Shane comes back as UM fans, if nothing else, so that next year's team has a potential All-American on it. But, if he does project to go in the first round, I hope he does the right thing for himself first and foremost. But I just personally think from a basketball standpoint, coming back would be the best thing for him.
All right. And that is the end of quarter number 1. And we will move on to quarter number 2. All right. Our live studio audience is very happy.
All 3 people out there that are watching are cheering right now. They like the first quarter.
Does the 3 people include you and I, or?
You and I and somebody in our family.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Maybe Strauser watches this.
All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about recruiting next because that kind of works hand in hand with the possible Larkin departure. Does he stay? Does he go? But Miami has some talented guys coming in next year, and we'll start off with local product DeAndre Burnett, 6'2", 190-pound combo guard. What have you heard about him?
Everything I've heard about him is absolutely positive. He was a 3-star guy coming out of high school. I know he went to prep school for a year where he's working on becoming a better ball handler, point guard type skill. It's stuff that he's working on. And I've heard that guys that have scouted him in prep school say he's more like a 4 or 5-star guy. He's really has a chance to be a sleeper for ACC Freshman of the Year. So whether Larkin stays or goes is going to probably dictate how much of the ball he sees and how many shots he gets. But everything positive about the kid. Could be a huge pickup.
Okay, let's talk about Devon Reed next at 6'6", 190. I know Devon Reed's a very talented guard, can do basically distribute the ball, he can shoot, he's very athletic. Maybe like a John Salmons comparison just from a scouting point of view. I mean, obviously it takes a lot to reach the level of John Salmons in college basketball or than the pros. What do you think about it?
I've heard great things about him, and you know, I'd take John Salmons in a heartbeat. John Salmons had a great 4-year career for UM. But in today's generation, one thing you see a lot more of than maybe when we were a little bit younger is the dunk highlights on YouTube. Devon Reed brings something that I never saw John Salmons do, and that's a above-the-rim style that, you know, if he has the all-around game to go with the athleticism, he could also be a big-time player for UM.
I definitely agree on that. And then we'll talk about James Kelly, who committed just, I think, last week or the week before, 6'8", 245, forward, likes to play around the rim. He was from Owens Community in Ohio. What do you know about him?
I didn't know that much until Charlie put the article out about him. I didn't even know that UM was recruiting him, but I watched some of his YouTube clips. He looks like just like the doctor ordered. I mean, they need somebody with Gamble and Reggie and all those big guys departing. They need somebody to play alongside Jakiri and, do some of the trash work, play some defense, provide an inside presence. So it remains to be seen. JUCO transfers can have huge impacts or they could have very small impacts. So it remains to be seen. But what I've heard about him, again, is not that much. But just his size and strength alone is much needed.
Yeah, I agree. One of the interesting facts I heard about him, and I read it on a blog somewhere, was that he hadn't played organized basketball until his junior year in high school, and he just basically went onto the team and went for 24-12 in his first game. Obviously, against high school competition, you're a big dude like that. You should be able to cause some damage, but still impressive in your first organized basketball game.
Yeah, I'd be interested to get a video of that game and see if was he just dunking or did he immediately have good touch around the basket or, it's not always so easy to score even if you're a big guy. It's having touch around the basket is a talent that's underrated. So.
I agree. And finally, one of the bigger prizes of this recruiting season, Demetrius Henry, 6'9", 220, forward center kind of guy, and he's also expanding his game to out towards the perimeter. He's on campus this week for a big visit, and as of an hour or two ago, tweeted that he was having an excellent time hanging out with hopefully fellow commit DeAndre Burnett, who has already committed to Miami.
Yeah, I just get wonderful images of the two guys walking around Lake Osceola joking about, Burnett throwing up lob passes that Henry finishes with power. I mean, best case scenario, they get this kid on campus. Kelly's certainly going to be a big addition, but the more big guys you can get, the better. And Henry certainly has a huge upside. So fingers crossed that he comes in.
Yeah, I agree. They've been going after him for a while. He's their big prize of this. Not discounting any of those other guys, but he's a guy they've really focused on, and they're really kind of trying to get. And I know that it's big for balancing out the roster in the future, and also for success next year. I mean, think about Shane Larkin playing with all these talented, athletic guys. If he comes back, it could be an exciting year. It could be a better year than most people are predicting after losing so many pieces.
Absolutely. And one thing, too, if Shane Larkin does come back and some of these new guys, they might not be world beaters right off the bat, but as they develop, it might help them get Shane Larkin for 2 years. Maybe by the end of his junior year, should he come back, he says, hey, this is a good nucleus. I want to come back and make another special run. So definitely, they definitely need some of these guys to come in.
All right. Well, end of quarter 2, we're at halftime. And, Jay, I'll leave this to you to introduce our next segment.
Next, we're going to talk about, this weekend, a lot of people know about this. If you're a U fan, you're all about football. Josh and I tend to go towards the basketball side of things, but the spring game is this weekend, and there are storylines, never-ending storylines about what could happen this year with UM's football team. So you got the spring game this weekend, some things to look for. The defense has got to improve. There's some reports about the freshman Figueroa coming in and having a huge impact. They're certainly going to need him because Eddie Johnson's no longer with us. The improvement of Deion Bush and Tracy Howard in the secondary, big storylines. Who's going to back up Duke Johnson at running back now that Mike James has departed? A lot of big storylines for UM. High hopes, though, this year.
Yeah, from my point of view, unless they get production off that defensive line, stopping the run, it could be a really long year. Offense, I think, is going to be outstanding. I mean, they have a lot of pieces, great quarterback, great offensive line. My question is there a team going to be able to just run the ball down their throats for 4 quarters and walk away with big wins? So,
well, there's a lot of debate, as you know, in South Florida about what was wrong with the defense. Coach D'Onofrio took a lot of heat last year. I think a lot of it was just playing so many true freshmen. It's hard to come in when you're, a 210-pound linebacker. You're going to be 240 by your senior year, but you're going up against 300-pound offensive linemen. Playing a lot of true freshmen last year, I think, hurt them more than anything. But I think just those guys getting in the weight room and getting bigger and stronger is going to make the defense better. If they have a middle attack defense this year with the offense they have, it could be a special year. But their defense has got to be better than whatever they ranked last year. I think they were in the bottom 10% of the nation in terms of yards and points and everything else. So.
Yeah, they were number 1 in making Notre Dame's rushing attack look like the most incredible rushing attack in the history of college football. So.
Yeah, that game almost made me gouge my eyes out. I mean, that was just terrible.
And then Notre Dame couldn't even move the ball 2 inches against Alabama, so kind of shows you the a little bit of difference there. So I'm hoping to see a much improved defense this year. So.
And I think we will. I mean, I think you saw some flashes from Deion Bush. Some of our other colleagues at State of the U are reporting that Tracy Howard looks so much bigger and stronger this year. They're reporting that Olsen and Pierre are harder to move, and just that the defense is progressing. I think there's going to be a big improvement. It could be a special year. Well, remains to be seen.
Yeah, we can all agree on that. It'll be fun to watch Duke Johnson run again this year because that is one of the most entertaining things to watch in all of college football.
Absolutely, and don't discount in his last 4 games last year, Stephen Morris had 11 touchdowns and no interceptions. You could almost see things clicking, in his brain. You could see him and get it, He might be in for a huge season too this year, and they have tons of weapons for him to throw to. So it's definitely going to be a big year for the offense, but the defense definitely needs to improve for them to have the special season that we all hope for.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You have to pick a record. What's their conference record and overall record football this year?
They play 8 conference games this year. I'm going to start off by saying they go 7-1. They win the Coastal, and they head up to Charlotte and destroy Florida State in the ACC championship game. I think they lose maybe 1 game outside of conference. That Florida game, I believe that's September 5th or September 6th maybe. That's going to be a huge game. If they win that, they might just run the table out of conference. I think they're going to win the ACC. I think they're heading back to the BCS. I think they're going to give a big middle finger to the NCAA and have a huge year. I don't think they win the national championship. I still think that probably goes to Alabama or one of the SEC teams, but I think they put themselves back on the college football map this year.
All right. That brings us to the end of quarter 3. And what we're going to try to do maybe in this final quarter is deviate a little bit from UM if there's some interesting sports